Hello and welcome everyone today. Today I am here with Professor Brian Quinn from the University of the West of Scotland. You may be aware of him from Aquaculture Europe last year, where he got first prize for the Aquaculture Innovation Forum, and where he was talking about his fish diagnostics tool. So Brian, I wonder if you could take a moment to introduce yourself and your organisation or your company, I guess.
Yep, certainly. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to address you. So I'm a professor of ecotoxicology in the University of the West of Scotland. So I am an academic, but we were just discussing with Georgina, I've come to aquaculture quite recently in the last 4 years, and I've come from an industry perspective. So my whole approach to this has been to try and use academic tools to solve real industry problems. So all my work is on fish taken from fish sites. I work extremely closely with the industry, and this approach has been developed with the industry to essentially meet their needs. As I said, I've been working on this for the last 4 years. And what I've been trying to do is to develop a proactive healthcare model for aquaculture to assess fish health in aquaculture. So this will be the continuous health assessment of fish, not waiting until there's a problem and then getting your vet out and then trying to identify what the problem is, but continuously assessing the health of the fish by measuring their blood, by measuring what's going on in their blood. And we're using high throughput blood-based methods to assess their health, which is exactly what we do in humans. So we're taking human or mammalian veterinary technology and we're applying it to fish. And as I say, the idea is that this can then develop into a continuous proactive healthcare model as opposed to the current reactive model.
Excellent. So you've somewhat described your innovation there. Can you tell me how it works? So if you have the fish, what happens then?
So essentially what we do is during the sea lice counts, so the fish are already out of the water, they're already anesthetized. So we've been working with the farmers to develop the most practical methods to take blood from the fish. Again, this is a non-lethal method. The fish completely recover from it. Take the blood is then sent to my laboratory and we analyze it using high throughput clinical chemistry instruments. So the advantage of this approach is that obviously it's non-lethal. So the alternative is histology, histopathology, which everybody obviously in the industry it's the gold standard at the moment, in which they're currently using. But of course, histopathology, you have to kill the fish. It's quite time consuming. It can often take a week, more than a week, to get your analysis undertaken. It's a very laborious process. It's expensive. And it can sometimes be subjective. It's down to the view of the individual looking at the slides. So what we're doing is take the blood gets analyzed in the lab. We work our magic. The results are presented back to the producer on a mobile app within 24 hours of us getting the sample. So this is rapid turnaround. That can then be used to inform husbandry decisions, such as, shall I hold off treating? If the fish aren't well, if there's something wrong, then hold off treating for a day or two, maybe reduce feeding, and then wait for the fish to recover before resuming. Another advantage of this approach is because it's non-lethal, we can take higher sample numbers. So at the moment, you might base your decisions on take 3 fish, you kill the fish, take the samples, the tissues you're interested in, biopsy 2-3 millimeters tissue, that's sent off and that's what's analyzed. Now you're basing your decisions for the site, which might be 20,000 fish per pen with 10 pens on site, on 3 fish. So our approach, we take at least 3 pens and we take 10 fish from those pens and then the samples are analyzed. So it's much more representative approach than relying on the smaller sample numbers, which you have to take with histopathology.
Excellent. Okay. So I guess you've already responded to how does it compare to other solutions, unless there's anything else that you'd like to add?
Again, it is, Yeah, so as I say, the main approach, the main advantage is rapid turnaround. We can turn around really quickly. Yeah, so that's it. And again, just to point out the fact that this is, even though I am an academic, but this is the approach that we've taken for this has been purely practical, robust, has to fit into what's going on. I've been to plenty of fish farms. I work with fish health managers all the time. I know how stuck for time they are when they have to travel to get to site, and they're working on a boat and a storm and all. So as I say, it's robust methods that we're trying to develop and to keep it as simple as possible for the people on the ground who are actually doing the sampling.
Excellent. So obviously there are lots of Irish aquaculture producers that would be interested in this. Can you tell me what the next step would be? So where can they find out more? How can they get in touch with you?
So at the moment, this is a research. I have several research projects, the most recent of which is funded by the UK government, and it's the Seafood Innovation Fund. In that project, I have every salmon producer in Scotland. So everyone who's growing a salmon in Scotland is involved in this work. We're also working with one of the two trout producers as well, Kane's Fish Farming. So there's a wide network here in Scotland that we're working with. At the moment, I'm working on commercializing this work, this research. So I also have funding through Scottish Enterprise, and we're setting up a company. So the industry are looking for this as a tool. They want this as a tool. They obviously have a lack of methods, plenty of methods to identify pathogens in fish, PCR developments, microbiology, but the only method currently to look at fish health is histopathology. So we're giving them a new tool that they can add to the box that they can use to assess fish health. So at the moment, it's research. I am spinning out a company. That company will be currently it's being formed at the moment. We are spinning out in the latest will be September next year. Everything has been delayed because of COVID. So we're 3 months delayed with everything, but we are actively spinning out. Unfortunately, I haven't got my website. I'm working with a company developing a brand, developing our website, and then of course our mobile app and all that. That hasn't been done yet. But obviously, my email address is Brian BRIAN.Quinn QUINN @uws.ac.uk, or LinkedIn. If you want to contact me through LinkedIn as well, is another good way to do it.
Great, thank you. I think you've answered all of my questions beautifully. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that we may have missed?
Yeah, just two things. One, you asked me the advantage of this approach, and I forgot. I did mention the fact that it's non-lethal, it's rapid, high sample numbers. But the other thing is that from the one blood sample, we can assess what's going on in various tissues of the fish, similar as we do in humans. So we have liver assays, we've got kidney, pancreas, heart, muscle, gill, osmolarity, general homeostasis. There are about 100 different endpoints that we can look at to assess what's going on in various tissues of the body. At the moment, we're working on 26. So when we get a sample, we have 26 biomarkers that we look at. Those biomarkers were chosen by the vets who work for the aquaculture companies. So again, we're not telling them what they should look at, they're telling us. And of course, the tricky part is what's normal for a fish. We know what the normal range for a human is, but not for a fish. So that's what we've been working on for the last 3 years, developing normal background levels, so that now we're at the stage to look at the clinical significance, to look at the impact of a health challenge. And the only other thing that I wanted to mention was that we are currently also developing fish-specific assays. So at the moment, we're amending and adapting sort of human or veterinary mammalian-based assays, but we're also expanding and looking at fish-specific assays and also different species. So we've concentrated on salmon so far, but I also have sea bream and sea bass from the Mediterranean that we're analysing. Now, if I can get samples from the Mediterranean and analyze them in my lab in Scotland, I can certainly get samples from Ireland and analyze them in my lab in Scotland. So please get in touch. If anyone has samples that they're particularly interested in, maybe a different species as well, or a particular health challenge that is different, I'd be delighted to get my hands on some samples. Initially, we're in a research phase, so this is not costing anybody any money. Now, there might be a bit of postage involved, but that's the advantage of being a research project at the moment. So it won't cost any money. And then obviously then when we spin out, it will. It'll be a commercial service. So that's the plan.
Excellent. That's fascinating. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem, and I hope some folk will get in touch. I mean, obviously I'm Irish and I'm very interested in supporting the industry in Ireland. Had great success with the industry here in Scotland, and I'd love to get involved in the Irish agriculture community as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Brian.
Lovely.
Thank you.